At the Beachcombers Hotel Conference Facility. Learn from financial experts Omar Birch-Smith and Disha Lewis as they break down the power of investing and introduce the UTC Global Balanced Fund Limited. Seats are limited. Secure your free spot now. Simply email us at info@utcgbfl.com to register today. Don't miss this chance to unlock your financial potential.
99.9 WEFM.
Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And the time here in SPG, it is 9:21, and we are heading into an interview this morning with UTC Global Balance Fund. And on the live, we have Mr. Omar Birch-Smith and Miss Disha Lewis. Good morning to both of you. And Disha, it is so wonderful to see you.
Yes, hello, Roleza. Morning. How are you today? It's been a while.
It has been a very, very long time.
Yes,
And Omar, in case you try to figure it out, we went to school together.
I think I figured that out already.
Okay. And how are you
nice
both
seeing
doing?
you again, Roleza and Dianna.
Yes, indeed it is. And how are you
It's a
both
pleasure.
doing? How are you both
I'm doing
doing?
okay. Doing okay. It's a rainy morning in St. Lucia right now. I don't know how's the weather in St. Vincent. A bit gray this morning in St. Lucia.
Okay. Looking outside, it's not as bright as we would like for it to be, but it doesn't seem like it's raining with us. So yeah, maybe we
Okay.
send you up your side this morning.
Send us some sunshine, please.
We indeed will. All right. All right, so let's get into our conversation for this morning. Indeed, it is a pleasure to be back having this conversation with you. Well, Disha, for the first time with you as well. So welcome back to Omar. So remind us or remind our listeners what UTC Global Balance Fund Limited is and who is UTC actually.
Okay, so good morning to your listeners again. Thanks for having us this morning. So the UTC Global Balance Fund is the first retail mutual fund of its kind. It launched in St. Lucia in November 2023. We launched in St. Vincent in November 2024. And since then, we've seen quite a few Vincentians start their investment journey. UTC GBFL was really created to give investors a simplified way to begin their investment journey. And when we talk investments, we're talking about really investing for your future, right? A sustained, disciplined path towards putting money aside into an investment vehicle that will grow steadily over time, to give Vincentians and folks throughout the OECS the opportunity to really build that life that they want and leave something for their kids. So the UTC Global Balance Fund is a subsidiary of the largest mutual fund in CARICOM, that's the Trinidad and Tobago Unit Trust Corporation. It's been in business since 1982, so 43 years this year, managing assets of about 10 billion EC, right, over that period of time, and unit holders of about 500,000 across Trinidad and Tobago. So we're expanding our footprint in the region. We have quite a few investors in the Eastern Caribbean and quite a few in St. Vincent as well. So we are returning to St. Vincent. We have not been back since our launch in November 2024. We're returning to St. Vincent next week to really spread the message of investing and personal finance as we continue to build the business throughout. When you think investing in Roleza and Dianna, sometimes people think, well, it's really something for rich people. But when we launched and we told folks, hey, it's just $100 US to get started, that was really what drew a lot of people in, and they started asking questions about investing and understanding the need for putting themselves on a financial path. And we're coming to St. Vincent to spread that message even more with the public seminar to be held on Monday.
Okay, so you actually partially answered a question I was going to ask. Since being here and since the launch, what cross section of persons have you seen investing here? Because yes, when we talk about investment, when we hear investment, we definitely think it's of people who have extra source of income or who have, making a big set of money. So what have you seen so far happening here in SVG?
That has been one of the greatest joys, Roleza, because we've seen people from all cross sections showing an interest and actually starting the investment journey. We've seen folks open up joint accounts for themselves and their kids to get them ready on a path to their education. We've seen persons start their journey for retirement. We've seen a good mix. We've had a lot of professionals open up accounts, but we've also had people, I guess what you would call regular folk, the man on the street who may have never considered it before, may have done traditional things like just a credit union account or some susu, actually go into the broker and open up their account, right? I use the word broker, but the shares are sold in St. Vincent by First Citizens Investment Services and the Bank of St. Vincent. They're both licensed, authorized broker dealers. And we've seen a wide cross section. It was really what GBFL was intended to be, to really give access to everybody to start investing, and we want to keep growing that pool. Whenever I land in St. Vincent and I'm wearing the GBFL shirt, I always get questions from the staff at the airport. So there's an eagerness there that really excites us. And just between the airport and the hotel, whoever sees us wearing the GBFL brand, and they always say, "What is this? How can I get started? Where can I go?" And they marvel at the fact that it's only 100 US.
Okay. All right.
All right. So tell us, what is a mutual fund?
Okay, certainly. So a mutual fund is really a financial vehicle that pools the monies of a number of individuals and institutions and then invest those funds in investment securities such as bonds, stocks, and money market instruments. So the pooling of resources in a mutual fund creates a scale that in turn provides access to a wide range of assets that may not be accessible to most. There are various types of mutual funds, including money market funds, growth funds, where the focus is on equity, income funds that focus on fixed income securities, as well as balance funds. And the GBFL, the Global Balance Fund Limited, is a balance fund.
Okay. And what are some of the benefits of investing in a mutual fund, and why are mutual funds ideal for investment for most?
Well, investing in mutual funds features a number of benefits, and these include professional management, affordability, steady returns over the medium to long term, as well as liquidity. And mutual funds are an ideal investment for the medium to long term goals. And these could include things such as your property acquisition and development, retirement, education, and of course, your wealth building.
Okay.
Someone has asked, one of our listeners has a question. The person wants to know how someone outside of the Caribbean can buy stock or shares.
Yes, so there are several options to that listener out there. So, like I said, you could contact any of the brokers in St. Vincent, First Citizens Investment Services or Bank of St. Vincent. But you also have the option to come directly through us, right? So, ladies, we recently launched an onboarding platform or an account opening platform. If you go onto our website, utcgbfl.com, there's a link to the platform where you can just sign up online. Right, it's fairly straightforward. There's a tutorial video on the website as well, which will guide you on how to go through the process. If you want to go directly to the onboard website, it's really onboard, onboard.utcgbfl.com, and you could start that process today. Alternatively, you could always send us an email at info@utcgbfl.com, and we'll reach out to you to guide you through the process. So while we aren't able to actively market in the diaspora because of regulations, of course, folks listening from the diaspora are free to reach out and open up accounts.
Okay. And with that website, the onboarding website, can I actually make payments on it as well?
No, you can't make payments, but it's very easy to subscribe. You could, on our website, our information in terms of how you transfer the money is there. It's very simple. And subscribing just requires sending us a simple subscription form, which you can do via email. We'd usually call back to confirm validity, and then we move from there.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, what are some of the types of assets that a GBLF that you can invest in?
GBFL, yes. So we invest, as Disha explained, mutual funds invest in stocks and bonds. A mutual fund like ours is a balanced fund, so we do invest in a mixture of stocks and bonds. So when we talk about stocks, we're talking about shares in large companies, right? So think Apple, Google, Microsoft, Netflix, you name it, Meta, all those large, well-known companies that have been trading on the international exchanges for a while. We also invest in a number of instruments known as exchange-traded funds, which are also types of investment funds as well. Our portfolio is global, hence the name UTC Global Balance Fund. So we also invest in a number of equities internationally as well, beyond just the US, in large economies like China and Australia, places in Europe, France, Germany, you name it. We also invest in a number of bonds. Bonds are debt securities issued by governments and companies to raise funds. And we invest in bonds, not only internationally, but in the region as well, right? With some of our governments. So there's over 65 assets in the portfolio. It's a well-diversified portfolio. Diversification is a big word for not putting all your eggs in one basket. And that's our primary tool. That's our primary tool for managing risk, right? We ensure that the portfolio is well diversified. So if one asset is not performing well, it doesn't have an inflated negative impact on the overall portfolio.
Okay. All right. So how do investors keep track of their investments?
So the value of shares of a mutual fund is measured by what we call the net asset value, or the NAV. And the NAV is essentially the value of the fund's assets, all of those securities, less any liabilities. The NAV for the GBFL is valued every day, every single day, and it is posted on our website for investors to view.
Okay. And Omar, you going to add something?
Yeah, so what I was saying was this is critical to understand because it's a departure from, say, like getting a regular interest payment.
Interest on your
What happens is when you invest in the fund, you buy shares, and you buy shares at the NAV for today, right? And how you track your value is really based on the price movement in the NAV. So why we don't encourage investors to look at the NAV every day, because some days it's down, the markets are down, some days it's up. It's a good way to track what your value is. So if you had 10 shares that you bought at $20, quick maths, that's a $200 investment. If the shares are trading at $21, it means your investment is now valued at $210. You earned $10 or 5% on your investment. So that's really how it works in terms of assessing value and monitoring value.
Okay. And is GBFL regulated, and what are some of the other protections in place for investors? Because the climate that we are in, all right? So
very, very, very important question, Roleza. Yes, GBFL is licensed and regulated by the Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission, and they're the only regulator of investment securities in St. Vincent and the OECS. So in addition to the oversight provided by the ECSRC, the legislation also requires that all assets be held with an independent custodian. So whatever securities that we purchase for the fund, and the Eastern Caribbean Central Securities Depository, the ECCSD, and an independent registrar maintains a register of the shareholders, and this is also the ECCSD. So this offers a level of protection to our investors, the fact that the fund is licensed and regulated by the ECSRC. And our viewers may be familiar with the ECCB, who regulates banks, so the ECSRC regulates the fund and other securities business in the OECS.
They're all located on the same campus in St. Kitts.
Yeah, in St. Kitts.
It's really one is across the lawn from the other.
Yes.
All right. So with all of this talk of investment now, why is it important for people to invest?
Yeah, it's really important for folks to invest because, and explain it this way, right? When you think about Vincentians, Vincentians have a rich history of savings, right?
Savings.
We have
That we do. That we do.
very strong credit unions, very strong banks locally. So we save very well in St. Vincent and throughout the OECS, to be frank. But savings right now can't be the only thing that you do, because what's actually happening in today's global landscape, ladies, and I'm sure you've heard of inflation. Inflation has become so rampant that you're actually losing value on your money by just keeping it in the bank, right? Now, when I use the word wealthy, I'm not talking about being wealthy, but I'm just talking about a measure of what you own, right? So if you have $100 in the bank and that's all you have, that's a measure of your wealth. So you want to be able to preserve that as much as possible. The bank pays 2% interest, and what's happening is inflation is persistently between 6 and 8%, right? So what cost $100 last year costs $106 this year. But your $100 that you had in the bank last year is worth $102. So you've just lost effectively $4 or 4% of your wealth. So what we're saying to folks is you need to invest our fund. While this is no guarantee of future performance, last year GBFL returned 12.44%, right? Which was well ahead of inflation. So it's really a good way to preserve your wealth, which everybody should be concerned about. Someone who retired and started receiving a pension in the 90s or in the early 2000s, you could just imagine the loss in purchasing power of that pension over time. So folks nearing retirement, they really need to understand that it's important to supplement your pensions with investment income, because over a long extended period of time, we're living longer, thankfully, but those pensions aren't getting any higher. It's important to supplement that with investments. And just simply leaving your money in the savings account, it's going to get eaten up by inflation and fees, because some of the banks charge you fees on your savings account. It's important to understand that investing is the way to go. So I just wanted to reiterate again that Monday evening at Beachcombers from 5:30 to 7, encourage folks to sign up at sending us an email at info@utcgbfl.com. Just to register so that you ensure that you have a place. But if you aren't able to register, we still invite you to come down. There'll be a lot of critical information that will be shared. Folks will be able to ask as many questions as they would like. Tisha did touch on the fact that we are a regulated entity. I'm not too sure if you guys had a lot of noise recently about certain things, certain products that were in the market that weren't necessarily licensed and regulated. One of the things that we promote is our transparency, and we're going to take a deep dive into how we go about managing the fund and what's in the portfolio. So encourage folks to come down and have a conversation. Our brokers will be present as well, the folks from Bank of St. Vincent, as well as First Citizens. So you can actually sign up at the event if you'd like. So I hope to see you ladies down there.
All right. Well, I know that you said on Monday, but you would be here from the 19th to the 23rd, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And what time? What are the times that you would be there?
Oh, so the public seminar is only one day. It's on Monday, and it's from 5:30 to 7. We do have some engagements throughout. We have an engagement with the Chamber of Commerce on Tuesday. We are doing a technical training with some business leaders on Thursday, and on Friday we're visiting 2 schools. Something that I always look forward to when I'm in the different
Please
islands.
speak on this a bit more for me, please. Please speak on it. Go right ahead.
The school
The
visits?
schools, right? The school visit.
Yes. I don't want to name them just yet, because we've written to them and they've confirmed verbally. But I know sometimes the schools like to communicate with the parents first, so I wouldn't say so. But it's two secondary schools, and we're looking forward to it. Where we actually go in, we do a presentation, get the children thinking about saving and putting together a budget and understanding how money works from an early age, right? The importance to understand, or understanding the importance rather of starting to plan financially from day one, right? Understanding how savings work and the difference between savings and investing, and generally the concept of really valuing the money that you earn, right? A lot of us, I was guilty of it many moons ago when I was a young boy, just went into the workforce. You know, you spend your money on all sorts of frivolous things, right? And the biggest asset you have when you invest in is time, right?
time,
So if
correct.
these folks who they'll turn 18 in say 2-3 years, if they're able to actually start investing from the time they're 18, they'll be in a very good position when they get closer to retirement, right? So just helping them understand that, hey, every little bit counts. You don't need to have thousands of dollars to start investing. No, as soon as you get that first paycheck, put that $100 aside and just build good habits from there. Because it's really about building that discipline and those good habits. I also wanted to mention that after the 100 US, the minimum is 20 US thereafter, right? Which is about 55 EC.
Okay, so after the 100 US, it's 20 US per month. What is per month? What?
20 US whenever you feel like, right? The fund is
Oh,
very
serious?
flexible. You can buy
Yes.
shares at any time. There's no monthly requirement. It's not like an insurance policy or anything like that. You can buy shares anytime, right? You could buy shares every day. You could buy shares once a year. You could buy it every month. When you get paid, obviously that's the easiest thing to do. Set up a standing order or salary assignment, and you do it monthly. But it's
And you
flexible.
can, yes. Sorry, Omar, I was just going to add, you can also redeem at any time. There's no lockup period. Yes, it gives you that liquidity and flexibility as well.
And you sell back to us. So if you need to sell, you don't need to go
Right.
find up. You don't need to say, hey, Dianna, buy my shares for me. I need some money. No, you sell back to the fund. Very seamless.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm excited about your visit to SVG. Oh, well, Omar, you coming back, and Disha, well, you coming home. But I'm especially pleased about the visits to these schools because I think that financial literacy is something that, parents may not know themselves, so they can't teach their children. So I am really happy, and I'm hoping that every occasion that you guys come back, you target new schools. All right. So
Yeah, that's the plan.
lovely, lovely. All right. So maybe we just allow you maybe 50 seconds each. I guess, Disha, you can tell us again why investing makes sense and makes sense at this time. And Omar, in your wrap up, just remind persons of what is happening next week. All right. So Disha, you first.
So investing is very important. And as Umar mentioned, the earlier you start, the better. So if you have not, the time to invest is now. And investing is important, especially for your medium to long-term goals, building that home, sending your kids to school. So we encourage listeners to come out to the information session next Monday and get the information on your personal financing and how you can invest in the GPFL fund.
And Omar, the soul man amongst the ladies.
Yes. So yeah, just reminding folks that we will be at the Beachcombers on Monday evening, doing the session on personal finance and investing. We're hoping to have a really good session. We encourage folks to ask as many questions and come prepared to sign up. The brokers will be there as well. If you aren't able to register, just feel free to come down. Like I said, we'll be in St. Vincent for the week. I know Wednesday is a holiday as well. But you could always reach out to us at any time via email. If you want to have a chat privately while we're down in St. Vincent, we can arrange that as well once the time permits. So I'm really excited to be back. Always love being in beautiful sunny Vincy, where the sky is always GBFL blue.
All right. So thank you very much for being here with us. And we are wishing you a safe trip over and an enjoyable session, a productive and fruitful session next week as well. So
Sorry,
Thanks
just
for having us, ladies.
somebody just sent in a question. They want to know, can you trade for clients?
No, we don't trade individually for clients. We manage one fund, which is the Global Balance Fund, and folks investing will be purchasing shares in the GBFL.
Okay, and another one. Are there any taxes added?
No, there are no taxes added. There are fees associated with the fund, but you could read up on the website with the fees. The fees are minimal, but there are no taxes associated with selling your shares or deducted from any sales or anything like that. Capital gains are not subject to taxes in St. Vincent and the OECS.
Yes, correct.
All right, lovely. So you got all out?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. All right. So thanks again, Omar and Disha, for being here. And we look forward to meeting with you in person or another session when we are going to meet virtually, whichever one it is. All the best to both of you. Okay.
All
Thanks.
right.
Take care.
Take
Have
care.
a good day,
Bye,
ladies.
listeners.
You as well. Thank you. Bye-bye. And that was our interview with the UTC Global Balance Fund. Remember that Fund Limited. Remember that they'll be here with us in SVG next week. And with that, we are heading on out of this particular interview, and we are heading straight into